Welcome to Something to Talk About here at King's, a really important campaign on the roadways coming up, and the police department working with the Department of Public Works to find you not wearing your seatbelt. It's called Click It or Ticket, and I know you know what that is. We're going to talk about buckling up in the car even before you pull out of your driveway. That's all ahead on Something to Talk About. Welcome back to Something to Talk About. Of course, we're here at King's Restaurant in Tamuning, and we've got our usual. We like to show off the Chesa platter, and we also like to show off the fruit for anybody here who's eating fruit and healthy, right? Okay, we have your options, sirs, if you care to partake. I'm talking this show with the Deputy Director for the Department of Public Works, Felix Beneventi, is here with me. Okay. And I've got Lieutenant Mike Archangel, who is with the GPD's Highway Patrol Division. Sir, it's nice to have you here.
Glad to be here.
Glad to be here. It's good to have you here because I think that it takes this level, of management to kind of get that message and how important it's been. First, can we just first talk about the likely relationship between DPW and the Office of Highway Safety, and then what you do at GPD? There's a long sort of relationship, right?
You want to go first?
No, go ahead. Well,
the Guam Police Department has enjoyed a very long and awesome relationship with the Department of Public Works' Office of Highway Safety. I can go back as far as in the mid '80s when I was assigned to the Traffic Division, which is what the Highway Patrol Division is now. And I remember the many programs that were available to us so that we can go out and conduct speed enforcement, DUI enforcement, the purchasing of equipment, and especially the vehicles. A lot of our vehicles were through federal funding provided to us by the Office of Highway Safety. So it goes all the way back, as far as I know, back into the mid '80s. But it could have gone even farther back. Even farther back than that. But even today, awesome relationship that we have with them in providing us funding, in providing us equipment, and other resources to even get our officers trained here or even flying off island to receive very specialized and technical training.
Felix, is that
we really appreciate that, and we enjoy that a lot.
Is that the same relationship that you'd find in other jurisdictions where a similar office to what you have, a counterpart on the mainland, would help to support a police department? Is that common?
Oh, absolutely, Patty. We hear stories when we go to off-island meetings and conferences where rarely, but it happens where local law enforcement, especially the police department, does not want to participate in highway safety programs. And these are usually, I'm thinking of a place I went to recently, like Indiana and Utah, where out in the rural areas, sometimes the local police department, the local sheriff, doesn't want to participate in the highway safety program with seat belts and DUI, because it's a small town and they don't have the time for it. It's usually a 1 or 2 man police department, in a small town, and they don't have time to add other responsibilities. And this is actually a pretty big program. Officer Archangel can attest that. Sure, you can get the money, but you got to get yourself organized to put the program together and actually do it. Put men out on the road, identify officers, get the equipment in place. So we can give you the money, but you still got to do a lot of the work. And many small organizations don't have the capability to do that. and they don't participate.
There are requirements
Yes.
for to receive this money. What are
Right.
some of the
You-
requirements?
You,
for
gotta
the
staff it properly. You gotta make sure that it's scheduled so that you're able to function with your routine duties, and then at the same time, you're making time for running the federal programs and meeting our mandates of that program, because we report to the Office of Highway Safety, who in turn reports to NHTSA. And we
That's national-
yes,
Highway
Highway
Safety.
Transportation
Transportation,
Safety.
Yeah.
So, there's a lot of work that goes on behind the scenes. It's not just getting a bunch of people and hitting the streets.
Right.
There's a lot
It
of
requires a lot of manpower, though. That's the thing,
True,
right?
true.
And you have a personnel shortage.
Yes,
do you?
yes.
Yeah. So
Everywhere in the Guam Police Department is experiencing a critical manpower shortage. But how we do this in the Highway Patrol Division is we will work our regular hours. We do what we need to do, our daily duties, and then we will go out and work overtime and work the various programs like a speed enforcement, the DUI checkpoints, and click it or ticket. And the Office of Highway Safety provides us the funding so that we are able to get our troops out there to do this enforcement. So that is pretty much the relationship that we have with them. We're the enforcement part of this entire program.
is there a jurisdiction, though? Are there certain roadways that GPD can man as opposed to, obviously not on base, but what about around the airport or around the port? Or
We are just one of other law enforcement agencies that are partnered with the Office of Highway Safety.
Okay.
The Airport Authority Police have their division that works closely with them. I know that the Port Authority is also involved with them, and we're just
You're just
another
one
arm.
element,
But-
okay.
But as far as enforcement goes, we as the Guam Police Department Highway Patrol Division, we can go anywhere to enforce, the traffic laws of the island, and especially to go out and look for DUIs, looking for people that are not wearing their seatbelts, and even people that are being distracted by their handheld devices and stuff like that while they're driving.
yeah. Talk to me about the program and the amount of money. Does it increase over the years, or has it pretty much been stagnant?
Well, we'll have to have Therese
Okay.
fill you up on that. But the whole purpose of the program, as put together by NHTSA many years ago, was to save lives. It's not about citing people. It's not about getting tickets and all that kind of. It's to save lives. So. And the goal, as I mentioned earlier, is 0 fatalities on the highways. We take our highways, we take people like you and families on Guam using our highways very seriously. In fact, we almost go into a state of mourning at Public Works, Highway Safety, when we lose a life. When we get a note that there's a fatality on Marine Drive, it's like somewhere we find out if it was an accident, which is preventable, or just a straight out crash. And then what were the factors that lead up to it? So a lot of the training that Officer Archangel and his officers go through involves trying to find out what causes these crashes, so that how could we have saved that life? It's not so much to find out who did something wrong and all that. It's just how could we have saved that life? And just a little bit more on the funding that Highway Safety does. We also we take it more than just to get people off the streets that don't comply. We also go and assist revenue and tax in their registration records and the count of vehicles out on the road, what kinds of vehicles are out there. Then we also assist the judiciary in keeping track of the traffic tickets and trying to get these things to talk together. The fire department, when you go to an accident, to a crash site, is that data followed through, and does that data interact with the policeman's finding on the road? Was it a registered vehicle?
Yeah.
was it a registered driver, a licensed driver? Has that person a history in the judiciary records? And how did the hospital treat that?
Really, you
so
go
it-
that
it-
deep.
It is. And Therese can break that down to you. It's amazing what goes through to make sure that our highways are safe for everybody that uses them.
Yeah, the part of the campaign involves you, the police officers out there at nighttime usually, or during the day at nighttime, or any day part.
Well, our Click It or Ticket, we run a daytime enforcement and also a nighttime enforcement. As a matter of fact, the last couple of nights, we conducted nighttime enforcement.
Okay.
Okay, it's pretty much the same operation as the daytime. With the only difference is we bring a light tower out, so that we're actually able to look into the vehicles, and our observers will be able to tell if this person is wearing their seatbelt, and if they are they wearing it properly, or if they're wearing it improperly. And like I said earlier, if they're being distracted by their phones and stuff like
Yeah.
that. So yeah, so it's a day and a nighttime operation.
Okay. Well, when we come back, we'll take a break here. When we come back, we'll haul in a couple of other people from DPW and from GPD. We'll talk about what actually happens on the roadway, and then how you can, I think, train yourself even. Adults need to train themselves on wearing a seatbelt, just strapping it on as a matter of habit. That's all ahead. We'll be right back. Well, we're back with a new round of guests, a fresh group of guests. I want to introduce you. Of course, I don't know if you've ever met him, but how would you not? Officer Alex Manquisco from the Guam Police Department's Highway Patrol Division and from the Office of Highway Safety. She's a star all on her own, Therese Matanani. If you don't know who she is, then you don't live on Guam. Because
Remember, there's two of us.
yeah, there are two of you. But it's been, I've been talking to you guys for so long.
Right.
You've been guests on this topic for so long, and you just said something to me that didn't register until right now.
Right.
The funding that they receive in federal grants from DPW depends on the need of the Guam Police Department to produce a problem. I mean,
Right.
the problem has to be there in order for the funding to be there.
Correct.
So it's kind of like, on the one hand, you want to avoid having the problem.
Right.
And on the other hand, you still need the funding because there are still people out there who still don't get it. Right. Yeah.
Yes. Yes, and that's how we base our funding to all our sub-grantees, is everything's data-driven. So if they prove to us that there's a problem with seatbelt, then we fund them for seatbelt activities. Likewise for DUI and for speeding. So, but because Highway Patrol, they enforce or they operate the entire island, they do their enforcement activities island-wide. The majority of the funding goes to the Guam Police Department.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, you're
Yeah.
the first line of defense there.
Yes.
Right?
And it's also in conjunction with what's happening nationwide. So we try to keep in sync with the enforcement campaigns that are also happening in the continental U.S. Right.
So it has to match. I mean, the season. It has to be a season
Right.
for that particular campaign.
Yes.
Exactly.
So we are in the season of Click It or Ticket.
Correct.
Yes.
Okay.
Correct.
And so we were just, Mr. Beneventi was just explaining to us that in some jurisdictions they don't even participate because they may have, the funding may be available, but they don't have the manpower.
Correct.
Yeah. And so there are some jurisdictions that don't even do it.
Right. Or
Yeah.
the problem doesn't exist. The stats shows that there isn't a problem as far as the usage of seatbelt.
Okay.
Right.
So we have a problem, or it's not as big as it has. I mean, after all of these years that you've been doing this, where are we in solving the problem?
Well, based on stats that was done, we were actually in 90% compliance for
Right.
seatbelt usage. But we started the Click It or Ticket campaign Monday, and we actually did a night enforcement, and we issued out 69 citations on Monday and 61 citations on Tuesday evening. And to me, that shows that the message is not going across. So
130 people.
right.
130 people weren't wearing a seatbelt.
Right. And the campaign is not to raise money for GPD.
Right.
It's to save lives. So if we are stopping and citing people, and that means that the message is not going across.
Okay, so I just need to know why people don't. What are some of the reasons why? Maybe the audience can go, oh, okay, that's me. That's why I don't ever. You know, the act of doing this motion is the same. I mean, it has to be instinctive, doesn't it? Isn't that the psychology?
Right. There's a number of reasons that they give us. One is that, you know, it wrinkles their shirt. Another one is they just forgot to do it, you know. So what we're thinking is that we need to either increase the fines that we're, you know, because psychology tells
Yeah.
us that we got to do a positive or negative reinforcement, right? And the negative will be to increase the fines for these violations. And then the positive, you know, if you don't have a citation within a period of 1 year, we can maybe lower down your insurance rates, or, you know, give
I'm
the
down
public
for that,
something-
man.
Yeah.
give you a discount on getting your driver's
Well, I'm
license
down for
renewed,
that.
right?
I'm down for that. But here's the theory about charging people for something that they can't afford anyway. You know what I mean? So then you've now created a population of people who are unable to pay their fines, and now we've got another layer of people that we got to either take to court or find another reason, way to punish them because they just simply don't have the money. You know?
Right, I
Yeah.
understand that too. But you know, with the when somebody's not wearing a seatbelt and they actually get into a crash, it actually hurts everybody, because then the hospital bills will go
Yeah.
up. The insurance rates for getting your your treatment will also go up. So it really hurts everybody.
I have to tell you that my bad happened. I was telling Officer Perez, and I think everybody in the room laughed at me. But I said, is there a grace period before, right before you put it on and the police officer sees you through your windshield that you don't have it on? It's like you're reaching for it. He's like, nope, you're still not. Technically, you still don't have it on.
Yeah, if actually you're on the road and you don't have your seatbelt on,
That
then
technically
yeah,
you're
it's
not where.
yeah.
I always try to get away from that. I wish I had a stop sign at the bottom of my street. No, that's not gonna fly. I think the more important issue is children who rely on their parents for their
Yes.
safety.
Right.
That has got to be a big problem on Guam. Do you not still see this on the
Yes,
roadways?
yes, we do. We
Kids
see a
running
lot.
up and down in the seats and all that stuff.
And you know, the thing is what Alex was saying, because of the increase, well, based on the increase of fine, before it was $25, now it's $100 for any violation for non-seatbelt usage or even car seat usage.
Is that part of a federal mandate, or is that
No.
Guam specific?
That's our Guam law. And our Guam law states that if you're less than 4 feet 9 and below 12 years of age,
Yeah.
your child must be in a booster seat or a child restraint that meets federal motor vehicle safety standards.
Mm-hmm.
And before, when our penalty fee was $25, our usage rate was in the 80s. But when we increased it to 100, it went up to 90s. So we're doing pretty good in getting the seatbelt usage, but it's the child restraints that
Yeah.
we need to get the message out.
What's the profile of the 130 tickets this week that were issued, or violations that you found? What's the profile of the person? Is there like an average, or have you been able to do that research yet?
Well, what we've been noticing is it's majority of the ones that are being cited are outer islander brothers and sisters. But you do have local people that are still not putting on their seatbelts. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so a lot of our island neighbors from the FSM.
Correct, right.
So is there a reason why? Is it because they don't have seatbelt enforcement, or they don't have that mode of transportation?
Yeah. As far as the children, the
Oh,
cost
is it
of
children?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, involving children and also adults, but as far as when the children are concerned, I guess it's that availability of child restraints. The car seats cost a little bit more. Actually, at Kmart, how much does it cost now for a
Are they-
For a booster
car
seat,
seat?
it's less than $100.
less than $100?
Yes.
Yeah,
For
but
booster
still,
seat.
Still
yeah,
pretty
you
steep.
know, you're weighing out
Yeah.
what you got to pay for.
Right.
Right. But the thing too, that they may not have a seatbelt law or a car seat
Yeah,
law.
exactly.
And they come to
So
Guam.
they come to
right.
the U.S. and they don't recognize that the traffic laws say
Correct.
this. So it could be just a matter of them not knowing.
Right.
So, and that's an expensive way to
Way of learning,
learning.
Not only purchasing a car seat, but also the penalty fee, you know.
So what happens when you come across something like that? Is there a place that they can go to, or can you say, listen,
Right.
there's a voucher that you might be
Yeah.
able to get, or
If we notice that this is actually a family that's in need and possibly cannot afford, what we do is we refer them to Office of
You get
Highway
phone calls,
Safety.
yeah.
Right.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
they
a room
refer.
full of car seats?
Yeah.
here?
Well, we purchase car seats for our car seat checkup events,
Right.
and we Highway Patrol as well as Office of Highway Safety. We're a permanent fitting station nationwide, so they can go online and see where they can have their car seat inspected. But when they pull over someone who's in need of a car seat, if available, we'll be more than happy to give them a brand new car seat.
What happens though in that case where you got a couple of kids that are in a car? They don't have a car seat. They don't have means to get a car seat. Do you? They're free to go. They're free to travel.
No, they're not. We try to get them to find somebody that can provide them with a car seat, and if they provided us with 1 or 2 car seats for those emergency situations that will come up. It'll be whether it'll be late at night or early in the morning, and we can't just leave them on the side of the road. Then we will go ahead and assist them by
Yeah, that's good.
providing
That's
them the
kind
car
of good to
seat.
know. But you also have to have like a pretty good system
Yes,
to
yes,
filter.
Yes,
Yes,
but
so the
sole
emergency
control.
situation is dictated by the time of day
Right.
and the
Right.
circumstance. But
Exactly.
during the day,
Yeah.
it's a little harder to say, hey, you got to wait here until we get a hold of somebody, right?
Right.
Okay.
And
Well,
I think they have a time limit too to hold them before they can release them from the.
Okay, well, it's
Is
good
that
to know
correct?
we're not sending them on their way. All right, so look out for these places, right? You have certain areas that are set up where
Right.
at nighttime, and you'll be
Yes.
shining the light in the car, and you're going to be looking for people to be strapped.
Right.
You know what I've seen before? I've seen them, as soon as they see it, they go like this, and then they go like this. But they don't actually click
Did
it.
you just say that?
They don't actually click it. They just show it on the front, so.
Yeah.
look
Or
for that
armpit.
I
Armpit.
know,
We'll keep an
hide
eye
it
out
under
for
their
that.
arm.
Yeah.
Sorry, guys, I told on you, but man, I think we tried to save some lives. The
That's right.
idea here is zero fatalities.
Yes.
Don't let yourself be a fatality. That's, I
right.
guess, the bottom line. Thank you, sir. I appreciate your
welcome.
service. Thank you.
Thank
for always
you,
coming.
Patty, for
Thanks
inviting
for the
us.
hookup, by the way.
Oh, yeah, no
You really hooked
problem.
this one up this year, girl. That's it for something to talk about. We'll see you later.